In a not-so-distant future, Earth's environmental devastation triggers a relentless ice age, forcing humanity to seek refuge underground. Within one of the dwindling havens, an alarm blares, and frantic cries echo through the corridors as two desperate souls flee from a menacing pursuer. Despite their dash to the exit, the door remains locked, sealing their grim fate. Elsewhere, Sam, tending to satellite dishes outside, observes a group of men emerging. Ailing, one man pleads for an extra day to recuperate, but Mason, deeming it a wasteful drain on resources, readies his firearm, disregarding the man's request for a dignified departure. Sam intervenes, championing the right of infirm individuals to choose their exit, but Mason remains resolute, justifying the execution as a harsh necessity for their survival. Returning indoors, the grim reality dawns on these few survivors confined within their limited resources. The common cold has become a dreaded menace. The last influenza outbreak claimed the lives of 20 individuals within a week. Their leader, Briggs, enacted a strict decree in response. The sick are quarantined, and if recovery eludes them, they face a grim choice between a bullet and a solitary journey through the snow. Despite their collective efforts to nurture one another and cultivate seeds, their numbers have dwindled over the years due to scarce food supplies. Whispers of a warmer paradise persist, but Sam remains skeptical. He confronts Briggs about Mason's transgression, though more pressing matters loom. In the communications room, a distress signal from Colony 5 plays on a loop, met with eerie silence. An emergency meeting is called while Sam approaches Victor, overseeing the livestock. Regrettably, there's more troubling news as Sam learns from Cooper. The last rabbit litter was stillborn, and of the 12 remaining, only one female remains unpaired, spurned by the others. Simultaneously, Briggs confronts Mason over his recent actions, but Mason staunchly defends his choice, citing the persistent threat of marauders returning for their provisions. Sam later visits his girlfriend Kai, who provides rabbit pellets while discussing her unyielding pursuit of hidden weather modification technology beneath the ice. Moments later, the survivors assemble for a meeting, where Dexter's wife Cough raises concern, but they dismiss it. Briggs shares Colony 5's dire situation and announces his intent to lead a reconnaissance team, despite Mason's objections to allocating more resources and lives in these dire circumstances. Briggs initially selects Dexter for the mission, prompting Sam's selfless intervention, arguing for Dexter to tend to the turbines. Graydon, despite Victor's objections, volunteers as well. With the team formed, Briggs appoints Kai as the temporary leader. A sneeze from Dexter's wife triggers immediate quarantine, leading Mason to advocate testing and casting doubt on Kai's competence. Briggs rebukes Mason, advising patience until his return to judge the afflicted couple. Amid a snowstorm, a boy finds his lifeless mother, stirring Sam from a nightmare of his own mother's loss. Kai comforts him, highlighting his innocence. The next day, the team sets out on a challenging expedition through snow and unyielding winds. Navigating an abandoned city, they encounter a defunct weather modification device. Progressing cautiously over a deteriorating bridge, they dodge gaps and precarious sections, narrowly avoiding disaster when a portion collapses under Briggs. At the bridge's end, they discover a car where a man holding a firearm had fatally shot his family. Battling the relentless snow, they chance upon a downed helicopter, offering them refuge for the night. Young Graydon, fascinated by this unfamiliar sight, finds it mesmerizing. Briggs contacts their outpost, learning that Dexter and his wife's conditions deteriorate. Mason insists on testing them, prompting Briggs to grant Cooper the authority to intervene if needed. Later, Graydon's discovery of a risque magazine sparks playful ribbing from the team. Briggs notes the proximity of their location to where he had discovered Sam, prompting Sam to confide in young Graydon about his past. As a child, Sam's family and other survivors sought refuge in mines. Depleted supplies led to the consumption of dogs and horses. Sam's father and others ventured to the city for aid, but never returned. The shelter's occupants began succumbing to the harsh conditions, so Sam embarked on a perilous journey with his mother and sister to a safer place. Tragically, a snowstorm separated them, and he never saw them again, saved only by Briggs's intervention. The next day, they reached Colony 5, unnerved by bloodstains outside the entrance and the acrid odor of smoke within. Further exploration reveals more gore and chaos, intensifying their unease in an abandoned colony meant for 50 residents. Briggs arms Graydon, and they cautiously navigate blood-soaked corridors and rooms. Just as they begin to accept potential loss, a distant noise rekindles their hope. Sam expertly picks a lock, revealing a man on the floor, startling them with a plea for mercy. Assuring him of their goodwill, they offer food and water. Trapped for days, Leland discloses their colony recently fixed an antenna, receiving a message which he replays. On screen, a man shares their group's success in thawing permafrost with a restored weather device, revealing fertile land as their sole need. The transmission abruptly ends without disclosing the location. Leland explains their triangulated signal sent a team, but it vanished, replaced by a menacing entity tracking them to their colony. A looming threat. Sam urges Leland to mark the location on their map. Briggs offers safety, but Leland, gripped by fear, denies making the mysterious noise. As they depart, eerie sounds terrify him, driving him back into the room, locking the door. The trio proceeds alone, venturing deeper into the outpost, where banging and screams grow louder. They stumble upon a gruesome tableau, a man amidst lifeless colonists, some consuming human flesh. The butcher prepares to attack, but succumbs to Sam's swift shot, stirring more cannibals from the corpses, led by a frenzied chief, who chased them through the corridors. Sam shoots the leader in the ear and eliminates another assailant, but their numbers overwhelm them. In a last-ditch effort, Briggs hurls a dynamite stick to buy them some respite. Graydon inadvertently becomes separated from the group, narrowly avoiding being encircled by cannibals who swiftly launch an attack. Briggs and Sam rush to his rescue, engaging in a fierce battle, eliminating their assailants one by one. Regrettably, when they reach Graydon, it's too late. He has succumbed to the onslaught. There's no time for mourning. Briggs and Sam must forge ahead. After ascending the stairs, Sam shoots down another cannibal, but runs out of ammunition. Briggs resorts to desperate measures, breaking the staircase to halt the pursuing cannibals. A lone cannibal waits, leading to an intense face-off that culminates with Briggs prevailing through a shot. As the remaining cannibals close in, their enraged leader emerges. Outside, Briggs deploys dynamite to demolish the tower, sealing off the colony. They traverse the snow, returning to the helicopter, where they decide to take shelter for the night due to plummeting temperatures. Reflecting on the cannibals, Briggs sheds light on the horrifying actions people resort to for survival, recounting a harrowing military experience involving thousands confined to a stadium during a crisis. Soldiers distributed food and doctors treated the ill, but dwindling supplies led armed individuals to exploit the vulnerable. Eventually, authorities decided who lived and who perished. Mason, once part of Briggs's squad, accompanied him in the quest for a refugee free from such turmoil. The following day, they realize the cannibals have traced their footsteps, closing in. Sam dreads they might follow to the colony, but Briggs crafts a plan. They sprint across the bridge, executing a daring leap to expedite their escape, placing lit dynamite near a gap and concealing themselves behind broken signs. Sadly, the wind snuffs the fuse. When Sam offers to relight it, Briggs intervenes, struggling against the wind. Several cannibals attempt to leap and fall through the gap. Finally, Briggs reignites the fuse, intentionally luring the cannibals nearer, only for the dynamite to detonate prematurely in his hands. The explosion claims Briggs's life and severs the bridge's center, rendering it impassable. On the opposite side, Sam spots surviving cannibals, including their leader, fixating hostile gazes upon him. He resumes his escape. Meanwhile, at the outpost, Mason drags Dexter and his wife outside, disregarding their pleas. Mason shoots the wife, but Kai intervenes, threatening to shoot him if he doesn't halt. A debate on leadership ensues as they hear Sam's cries for help. Dexter seizes the distraction to flee, while Kai rushes to Sam's aid, who succumbs to the cold. Mason approaches, incapacitating Kai. Hours later, Sam awakens within the outpost, reluctantly breaking the dire news to Victor about his son. Mason returns, shackling Sam to the bed, citing a change in command and survival as justification. Rations are halved. Immediate testing for signs of illness is enforced, and non-compliant individuals face food deprivation. Sam imparts the harrowing events and urges them to escape before the cannibals find them, referencing the warm place glimpsed in the video. Mason remains skeptical of Sam's account and departs, escorting others. Before their exit, a young boy discreetly hands Sam the stolen handcuff keys. Outside, Mason and Victor remain vigilant for potential threats, despite Victor's acknowledgement of Sam's honesty. They opt for security camera surveillance, but are interrupted by news of Sam's escape. Meanwhile, Sam locates Kai, confined in another room, promptly freeing her. Utilizing her computer, they pinpoint the message's source. Initially, nothing appears, but the radar eventually detects a warm area, confirming a thaw. Filling their bags with seeds, they aim to inform the group, but are intercepted by Mason and his team, asserting their dominance. Suddenly, a loud banging erupts outside, prompting them to examine security footage, revealing the cannibals relentlessly assaulting the doors. The cannibal leader, holding Dexter's head menacingly, shatters the camera. Convinced by the dire situation, Mason swiftly issues orders. Those capable of wielding weapons should be armed, and the remaining civilians must seek refuge in the vault. Cooper guides the colonists to the vault while guarding the door as the armed group positions themselves in the corridor, anticipating the door's breach. The lights briefly falter and then return, but the door opens without invaders. Unmistakable sounds emanate from within the shelter. Suddenly, a cannibal erupts from the vents, confronting Cooper. Despite his defense, the cannibal overpowers him and dashes toward the vault, only for the colonist to slam the door in his face. In another corridor, a lost girl seeks refuge, but a cannibal seizes her life. The armed group belatedly realizes the cannibals infiltrated the vents and confronts them, resulting in losses on both sides. Sam and Kai flee while Victor confronts the leader, putting up a valiant fight but ultimately succumbing. Meanwhile, wounded Mason finds refuge in a secure room where survivors who couldn't reach the vault are hidden. They close the door, barring Sam and Kai's entry. A colonist admits the couple but is overpowered by the infiltrating cannibal. Kai swiftly shoots the intruder and they scramble to secure the door, but it won't withstand the relentless assault from approaching cannibals. Sam opens a vent, urging the group to escape outside. Mason protests, fearing they'll freeze and insisting on confronting the enemy. The others exit through the vent, leaving Sam to hand Mason a gun before departing. The cannibals breach the door seconds later, save for their leader who hides in the vent just in time. Eventually, the leader confronts Sam, and a fierce battle ensues within the vent, which collapses, causing them to tumble into the livestock room. Sam relentlessly hurls objects at the cannibal, but the opponent initially dominates, beating Sam until he seizes a fallen knife. Sam stabs the cannibal's leg, overpowering him, and brutally batters his face before decapitating him. Sam seeks an exit, only to discover the corridor ablaze. Meanwhile, Kai and the surviving group emerge from the vent to witness their home in flames. Sam emerges from the vent and urges them to locate the warm place from the message. The group embarks on a snowy journey, hoping to find a new refuge soon.